Welcome to the More Gems Show. I'm Steve Moriarty, your host, and with us tonight is our special guest, Christopher Michael, who is our designer and my nephew. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
And also, Michael is here. He's our, what do you do?
I don't know. Get everything moving and change the scenes. So, hello everybody.
He's in charge of this production. So,
Get
hi, Mike.
everything moving. That's what Michael does.
And also, my other son, Jeff,
How we doing?
who is our chat moderator.
Yep.
And this is our last show of the year.
It is?
I think so, isn't it?
Good.
We'll see. Probably is. Just gets too busy during December to really put on this production. But thanks for coming tonight. Jeffrey, you've got some information for us.
Yeah, just for everybody that's here. Some people are new, some people have been here before, but just to give you an idea. First of all, if you're watching the show, you can, if you sign into your YouTube account, your Gmail account, there's a live chat going. You can't see it unless you're logged in. So there's a lot of cool people in here chatting, asking questions, talking. So if you can, log into your Gmail or your YouTube account. Throughout the show, you're going to see the gemstones that we offer. You're going to be able to go to MoreGems.com. Don't worry, there's going to be some information at the bottom of the video where you can do and purchase, look at them, look more information about them, use the coupon code that we give you, and you can buy them all through there. We accept credit card, we accept PayPal, we do a financing, or if you want to call and do a layaway, we can do that as well. Yes.
And the one that's coming up, Brad?
Yes. So we've had some requests for some, because the one we have right now kind of limits you to the amount that
He's
you
talking
can
about financing.
finance. Yeah. So I am implementing a new one, which I believe allows you to go up to $10,000 financing and up to 12 months. I should have that launched by mid next week. So that'll be coming soon.
Cool.
Okay. And also tonight, just for those of you that are watching, we are doing our Black Friday pricing that is just on Tanzanite jewelry design. So you're going to get 15% off on anything on Tanzanite jewelry designs. And again, this is with coupon code EARLY. And you people that are watching are the only ones that are going to know about this special offering. During Black Friday, we'll have the same 15% off. It's just that day. And this is only going to last for 7 days. Through 11/17 is what the 15% off will be.
That's on Tanzanite jewelry.
On Tanzanite jewelry designs. Yep.
I'll link to it in the details of the video as well.
Okay. Tonight, our stones are, you'll see a couple of prices on there. The most expensive price is a price of the appraised price that's comes from information that comes from this Gem Guide. Gem Guide is a market-driven, independent pricing guide. What's that?
I think you're upside down.
Oh.
No? Oh,
Oh.
I flipped the camera. That's what happened.
Yeah. So it's all written in Pig Latin or something. But anyway, what it does is it gives us pricing that they've researched at the major trade shows, particularly Tucson Gem and Mineral and some of the other larger gem shows. So they'll go around checking prices and they'll produce this guide from that and give us recommendations on just how to come up with an appraised price on a gem. So that's the more expensive price you're going to see on our on the stones and on. You'll see it on tonight. And the other price is what we normally sell on our website. And tonight there'll be 15% off that. And also there's some hidden gems that'll come up that will be 25% off. So those you are not able to see yet, but when they come up, we'll announce it, and it'll be some special pricing on those pieces. I think there's 4 of them tonight. So if you have any questions for me or Chris, Chris, if you have any design questions or, any questions you might have, Jeff will pick those up and give them to us, and we'll try and answer them as they come in. Anything else I'm missing? Probably.
That heist.
Oh, about the big jewelry heist? So some informational news for everybody tonight. There was a big jewelry heist at Walmart.
Well, they didn't get much, did they?
I don't know. They weren't able to catch them off. They weren't able to catch them all. One man actually made off with a whopping $13 zirconia ring.
Ooh.
During the heist. Total of 4 items were stolen, $75 worth.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting news there, Jeff.
I know. Did they go in that night, dressed like robbers?
They got pictures of him,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gotta be careful. I think, I don't know. 5'7", Nike baseball cap, and hoodie.
All right, thanks for that news, Jeff.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah.
Was it like George Clooney? Didn't he do like one of those heist movies?
Yeah, Ocean's 11.
Oh, that's terrible.
So some news from Tanzania. A friend of mine who was there recently. Apparently I don't know how this is going to work, but all trade of Tanzanite now, since October 16th, is only done in Marilani, which is the mining area. And it has to be exported through the airport. So, I used to buy at the mines in Marilani and in Arusha. So apparently now there's no buying in Arusha, which they'd set up bourses where supposedly you could buy. So not really sure how all this is going to work out, but it's a changing market, and hopefully it doesn't affect us negatively. But time will tell. So
Will you be going back?
as soon as we can, yeah. We've got tickets, but not a date yet. Tanzania is still a riskier place with COVID, and so we'll see when we can get back. Maybe later next year. So, all right. So let's get started. Our first stone tonight is a Tanzanite. This is a carat 22. It was a carat 67, but I recut it, and I think it came out really nice. It's a round brilliant. It's a modification of a round brilliant that I do, has some extra facets in it, and it just came out to be a really nice stone. And I wish I could recut them all, but the weight loss is pretty significant, and so there's a limit to how much you can recut stones and actually still remain within the price range of what Tanzanite normally sells. It does make them more expensive, but it's such an improvement on the brilliance from the standard material that's generally cut in India or Tanzania. So this came out really great. I'm very pleased with the stone, and for such a small stone, it's really got a great color. High clarity stone. It's completely clean, and just as brilliant as you can make a round brilliant Tanzanite. So this is a carat 22. The appraised price is $1,159. $640 is what it's online for, and tonight with the 15% off, it's $544. So it measures 6.8 millimeters, so that's like a carat 20 if you were going to compare to a diamond. So pretty much the same. They have a similar density, so if you cut them like a round brilliant diamond is cut, you get a real similar millimeter size for weight comparison. So really nice stone. It's I'm happy with it. Makes me want to recut them all, but time and and the price of recutting. Often you lose 30% once you recut a stone. I probably lost, I don't know what it figures to, at least 20% on it. But sometimes I look at it and say, it's worthwhile to recut these stones. I wish they'd cut them like this, originally. I know you're a little out of, maybe closer focal range. Yeah, probably. Anyway, really nice stone. I think it's, not sure what the color on this one is. More blue, I don't know. If you look at the website, it'll give a full grading. And a little bit later, we'll talk about our grading system. We had a lot of questions about it because our grading system is pretty much unique to us. It's something I developed, and, it probably does need some explanation.
With tanzanite, I know there are a lot of new people. Question we get all the time is tanzanite being able to wear it. Any problem with rings, pendants, earrings?
Well, we sell a lot of rings. Of course, pendants and earrings are no issue at all. Rings, over time, you can damage the surface. They can be recut, because the damage you do is minor. I say minor, but over time you can scratch it enough, it starts to affect the brilliance. But generally you can recut them, and that kind of recut is very minimal loss. If you scratch the surface of this stone, it's a carat 22, you're going to end up with a carat 15 once it's recut, assuming somebody that knows what they're doing recuts it. So it is a very minimal weight loss when you do that. So, all right, so up next is an Imperial Zircon. Zircon is December's birthstone. We generally think of blue zircon being the birthstone, but anything zircon. And actually, I believe the original colors that were in the breastplate of Aaron, which were the 12 tribes of Israel, is what it represented, and it became the birthstone. And jacinth, I believe, is the zircon that was in there, and it is more brownish, like this material, because whether it's this stone or blue zircon, they all started out brown. Blue zircon is brown when it starts. We heat them, and it turns blue. So the natural color for zircon is a brownish color. These stones have also been heated. Typically, they're a little on the dark side and more brown. When you heat them, you lighten up the color, and if you're lucky, you get this peachy color. These are known as Imperial Zircon because they look like Imperial Topaz. That peachy color that you see in topaz is why we've called them Imperial Zircons. So this is 3.29 carat. Nice, interesting, longer cut.
Done a few designs with these long emerald cut shapes, haven't you, Chris?
Yeah. Steve cuts a lot of these. It's one of my favorite cuts. Is the long emerald cut.
Just makes a unique piece when
piece.
You don't have to do a whole lot to it. It just looks different, just because of the shape of the stone. We've done pendants, particularly with some bigger, long emerald cuts. Like in tourmalines, they're naturally long, thin crystals. So we do like working with longer cuts like these. So this make a pretty ring. Yeah, work out as a ring. Pendant.
Definitely a ring.
Yeah. So this is 3.29 carats, appraised price $980, $690 on our website. With 15 off tonight, it's $586. These come from Tanzania. This particular material is probably from the Tanga region in Tanzania. That's really the only place you get these really peach colors. You do see it from Mozambique also, but not generally quite this color.
And this doesn't fit in this mounting, but
It could.
yes, we could make it fit.
Yeah.
And the bypass looks good on these longer step cuts.
Oh yeah.
So on all those little prong-looking things, or those little dots on it, that's where diamonds go.
Yeah.
Those are the prongs that'll hold the diamonds. Yeah, that'd be a really nice style for it. All right.
I think I fit in there.
If I'm lucky. Got it. All right, next stone up is a citrine. This comes from Brazil, or from Uruguay. This particular material, which was readily available for quite a few years, just has kind of disappeared from the market. Not sure what's happened to it, but kind of typical of most sources. You know, they're available for a while, and as quickly as they came, they disappear. You know, this particular stone was cut by Marcia Tokarski. She unfortunately died recently, but she was really, really a good cutter. I mean, she was about as perfect of cutter as you can get. Not the fastest cutter on the planet, but she just did beautiful, beautiful work. You know, we miss her, and the gem world will miss her cutting for sure. You know, that's a beautifully done stone. It weighs 18.02 carats. The appraised price is $1,440. Sorry for the little dust on all over this stone. I've gotten better at cleaning up my act with cleaning up the surface of these stones, but this one was done a while back when I wasn't quite so fastidious about cleaning the surface before I video them. But anyway, it's a really beautiful stone. Appraised price $1,440. $720 is the price we have online. $612 is the 15% off price with the coupon code EARLY.
And I got a question through our live chat, not on here, but through our website. And I know we bring this up before, but for the new people, can you talk about just a little more in depth about the custom design services we have for these stones?
Okay. Sure. What is our custom design? Well, Chris does it. And, we can pretty much from a picture, we've done many, many pieces. We can provide you with some ideas of what we've done in the past. There one?
It's better if you have at least a basic idea of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And you can find things, again, on the internet. On Pinterest is a good place to find them. A lot of times people come in and they'll just say, well, you're the designer, make me something. Like, I have to know what you're like, what your tastes are, what your style is.
Yeah, because you can't spend
Right.
a week trying to figure out what you like. We need to have some kind of framework of what kind of piece you like. If you can just provide some things that this is kind of what I like, and it's much easier for Chris to go from there. I don't know if we had a piece that fit. Well, there was only that big diamonds round piece.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did with that. Is that there? Oh yeah. Which is not the most exciting thing, but it fit.
Somebody's asking, can you put it against a finger? Just see what the size of it is
Yep.
for a ring or for a pendant.
Well, okay.
See if I do that.
Yeah, if we.
Good practice.
Well, yeah, it's maybe up here. Here, put it against.
Oh.
Yeah, it's hard to do in the. Yeah, that'll help.
So it's pretty large.
Yeah, I mean it's a big stone, but not too big for a ring. So it looks like we had a sale.
Yep.
And what would that be, Jeffrey?
So this sale is, as you talked about in the beginning, we're also doing the 15% off TanzaniteJewelryDesigns.com. So there's a lot of stones on that site that aren't listed here, and we had Sharon, she purchased a 1 carat antique cushion tanzanite gemstone.
Oh, cool. Okay, thanks, Sharon. Yeah.
Thanks, Sharon.
All right. Here, you can show a piece of rough. So here's the rough that this material comes from. And it's been about 2 years since I've been able to get any rough. Hopefully we'll find more, because before this source, which probably hit the market maybe 10, 12 years ago, it was 20 years before that, before I ever saw this material. Back in the early 80s, this kind of color was coming out of Brazil. And from probably 85 till 2005, there was nothing in this kind of color range in citrine. So it has been generally rare in the market. I kind of had been around for 15 years now, and I kind of assumed it was going to stay around, but then it just kind of disappeared. So kind of weird, but no, it's not weird. I mean, it happens all the time in this business. Things don't usually last very long. They'll find material, and it can be a week after they find it. It can be a month. It can be a year. It can be 10 years that they keep finding it. It's just some of these things are just in a single pocket. And as quick as it hits the market, it's gone. So that's more often than not. So things that last a long time, like tanzanites and some of the other rare gems, it's unusual that you get years of production out of a particular source. But this was some of the best that ever came out. Yeah. And up next is... So this is, for you that might be interested in investing, this is a tanzanite investment package. Let's see if... So there's 5 stones in this package. They're all in the 6 carat range. And all of these stones are extremely clean. They're flawless to VVS. Only one of them is a VS1. So they're high clarity, really fine cutting, and just top color. The average rating in this, on my rating system, is, 962? Well, Michael figured out, 962.2. So the lowest was where is it? The lowest quality was, no, I have these notes. 958 up to a 970. So they're just very high quality stones. And just a quick explanation of what my grading system involves. It primarily breaks it down into 3 categories. The color, which I grade both in daylight or daylight equivalent lighting and incandescent light. So I give those 2 numbers from 1 to 1,000. Add them up, divide by 2, and that gives me a color number. Then for clarity, also same 1 to 1,000. Anything that is VS1 or better is 1,000. And then as you drop down, the numbers drop. A VS is a 900 and SI1 is an 850 and on down. So that's for the clarity. And then the cutting is actually broken down into 4 different factors. The brilliance of the stone, the symmetry of the stone, the polish of the stone, and just the general cutting quality of the stone. And I give those 1 to 1,000 and divide by 4 for the 4 factors, and that gives me a number from 1 to 1,000. Add those up, those 3 different things, the cut, the clarity, and the color, and divide by 3, and that gives me that overall quality rating. This is a system that is mine only. I do the grading, So, you have to trust my grading. But the one thing it does, there's no 100% accuracy to it, but it forces me to look close at the stone, not just look at it and go, oh, yeah, that's a whatever, AAA, which is the old system. What's AAA mean? It, really depends on the person, and they're just generally looking at it and going, oh, that's AAA, not really breaking down the stone into various factors. If you look at the cutting on these stones, really beautifully done, really a nice polish on them. And they're just a very high quality stones. So this entire package weighs 32 carats, 32.08. The appraised value is $35,255. Online, it's $15,864, and with 15% off, it's $13,485. Some big numbers there. But they're $420 a carat. And on our website, there's $650 to $675 a carat is what these stones go for. So it has good investment value to somebody that might be interested in this. Just a really good package. And these size stones are probably the best-selling stones we have. Things in the 3 to 8 carat are the strongest part of the market. Nice variety of colors. 4 of them are blue violet exceptional, so a little more violet, but they're a really good mix. They have a lot of blue in them and a lot of violet, but a little stronger to the violet. One of them is stronger to the blue. So just beautiful stones, stones you can be proud of and are very saleable material in this kind of quality. Don't do investment packages, almost never, but I've got a lot of stones in this size. If whatever you may need in a stone, and particularly in this size range, I have many, many stones, a lot of rough to cut, and a lot of stones available. We're going to work at getting more of them online. It's just hard to get everything we have online, but we have a really good representation, and generally the better stones I have go online first, and so there's a lot of good stones on there that you can take that 15% off right now with the coupon code EARLY. Beautiful stone. So here's a piece of rough. Show that, Chris. This is an unusual piece of tanzanite rough, just because it's natural and it is blue.
Sure is.
Yeah. So this one will require no heating, whereas most of them, including everything in that investment package, has been heated. So it's just extremely rare to come up with material that requires no heating. That doesn't help much. But it really pretty stone. That one's going to cut probably a 10 carat or better.
What shape?
I don't know. Haven't really looked at it. Don't know.
It's like neon blue.
Yeah, it's really a great blue. I think last show I showed a bigger one I had. I haven't got around to cutting that one yet either. Yeah, so. And up next.
Do you want to talk about them individually or just kind of
individually?
Leave it as it is.
Sure.
I don't know if.
I don't know. I have enough information. Maybe I do. Yeah. Where are those parcels?
Just quickly, kind of an overview to let them know. I kind of went through pieces, but.
Yeah, I don't have a good breakdown on them. All of them are VVS except one that's a VS1. So, other than they all weigh in the 6 carat range, they range from 624 to 6.95 carat is where all of them are at. What else can I say other than they're really gorgeous stones and it's really a good value for somebody. When you're at 420 a carat, not going to see them from me very often like that or from anybody. It's only because of the volume of the package that it makes it worth it for me to sell this many. And I've been getting some really special buys on tanzanite lately, and this was a good package. A few of them show red flash. As you can see in that, you can start to see the red flash in that. One of them is very strong red flash, and those only come in the really best colors and material. It's just exceedingly rare to see that, and you probably see it strongly in one of the stones in this parcel, and you may catch glints of it in a couple of other, including this one. So about all I have to say about that.
Gentleman had a question. You just showed some rough, tanzanite rough.
Uh-huh.
He wanted to know, once that is cut, how much per carat do you think it'll be worth?
Oh, high 600s, and natural should be worth more, but, it just depends how great a color, because some of those just come out just like this deep milk of magnesia blue, as you can see in this one. It's probably worth more than what the general top-end stones. Unfortunately, naturals, you can't really prove their natural color. So it's not as easy to charge more for naturals, because you're taking my word that it's natural color, and you couldn't send it to a lab and have them ID it as natural. You can heat them, and my experience are when you heat them, they get a little deeper color than the natural material. So I've heated a couple of natural blues, and mainly because the color was not quite as strong as I thought it should be, and, it was worthwhile giving it a shot, and they seem to get better, seem to darken, but I doubt this one needs darkening, so it'll probably never be heated. And eventually they'll figure out a way to ID, just how this color is. The colors of naturals are, they're typically a little different, and I thought I could ID them all the time, but recently I've seen some stones that look like naturals, and the owners told me they were not natural. So it kind of blew that concept I had that I could ID natural colors just by eye. So, so how you ID them, I don't know. There's definitely a way to do that. They don't have the yellow in them as most naturals do, but the colors may be distinctive in a microscope. Not quite sure. I can't 100% ID it, and I don't know labs will give you any ideas natural on these. I should send it to GIA, see what they have to say. So I may do that. Cut this one and send it off and tell them I think it's natural, see if they can prove it. I have not read anywhere that they could prove it or not. So, all right, and up next is a Christopher Michael design piece. And actually this design, well, tell us about it, Chris.
I did this for a design contest for Gemvision, which is now owned by Stuller.
Which Stuller is the biggest manufacturer in the jewelry business, I would guess. I'm not sure that's true, but
So
I got to think it is.
Yeah. Gemvision is the company that produces the software I use, the CAD software. And they hold a contest anytime they release a new version of the software, design contest, and this piece happened to win. Best of show.
Yeah. And it was important because of the how many entrants?
300 and some?
And these pieces were picked by the people that entered.
Other jewelers.
Yeah, it wasn't a judge that, I've always had difficulty with gem contests because you got to figure out what's going to please the judge, and that's a difficult thing. But here, all the people that were in it chose who they thought was best, and they picked Chris's piece, and this was the design. This isn't the one that won, but it is. It is. Yeah, it was a tanzanite piece, and but this is a smaller version of the same piece,
scaled down.
Yeah, but it has all the detail of that piece. Yeah, so really cool piece. So this is what's in it is a Mahenge garnet. These garnets came out in colors that were generally not available previous to this source. Unfortunately, this source is not producing quantities that it was. It's very difficult to get this material. What little is coming out, everybody wants it because they are such special colors. This particular color is lighter than anything that was generally available previously. The closest thing to this was umbellite garnet, which has the same lighter color. And Mahenge produced some peach colors and just some really unusual colors that generally were not seen in the market previous to this source. Mahenge is a source in Tanzania that was producing spinels, and then they started finding these garnets there. So hopefully there'll be more production, but not looking good, but never know, just something that all of us cutters are looking for, because these light colors and garnets give you a diamond-like brilliance that you don't see typically in the darker garnets. So really special piece, special design, special stone. That particular stone, the appraised price is $36.90. $29.90 is our online price, and 15% off that comes to $25.41. This is in 14 karat rose gold, and just the beautiful detail to it. Let's see, you can probably do this one by hand, I suppose. Maybe. I don't know how it looks against the hand, but. So next up is an opal, and really a spectacular opal. And it's also a hidden gem. Can I get you over this way? Get you in the screen there, Chris.
I don't need to be.
Come on, move closer. So this hidden gem, what that means, it's 25% off on the 4 hidden gems we have tonight. But this is just a really special opal. I mean, the colors in it are just amazing. Yeah, I don't know where the focal range of that is.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. This light being that close, opal's photographed better with light from a distance, particularly the sun. The sun is amazing for this type of material. So these are really great for daytime wear. If you're going to be out in the sun, these opals it's where they shine. And this particular opal just has the full range of colors, all the rainbow colors in this, and particularly some really strong blues, and again, any color. I don't know where it's a little out of focus. I don't know, is it up higher? Or? Yeah, that's better. That's better. It's my eyes out of focus. But really a wonderful opal. The things that I hear about people that wear opals, they get so many compliments on it. They're a nice size, so this as a pendant is just a very noticeable piece, and the colors are just striking. The material is called top crystal. Because if you look through this material, it's just very crystalline. There's not much white base to this. You shine a light through it, it's almost window clear. And to get material to show this kind of color in crystal opal is very rare. In Australia, it's considered to be the top quality material. Top crystal has the greatest value of any of the white opals, and this is just the best of the best. We have a sale, it looks like.
Yep, we got a sale. The judges of the design contests weren't the only one that liked your ring. So Bob picked up the best
All right.
show.
Good job, Chris.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, it is a great piece. The stone's great too. Just not the mounting. Chris did a great job, but I picked the stone. What's that, Mike?
Oh, but don't worry about it.
Okay,
We'll get that fixed.
I'll ignore it. So, that's cool that piece sold. We just finished that.
I don't know when we said it.
Yeah, a couple of
Recently.
weeks. Yeah, week or two ago, we just finished that piece.
Show, though, right?
Yeah, it has. I don't think it ever went online. We were just saving it for the show, and so cool. Back to this opal. Somebody should own this opal because this is special. I think I've got 3 opals, and they're on the show tonight, and they're 3 of the finest pieces that I've ever owned. And this definitely being one of them. This millimeter size, it's almost an inch long, so it's a pretty good size opal. I say it'd make a great pendant. You could do it in a ring, definitely safer and more visible to others in a pendant. But either works. This material is hydrophane. Hydrophane just means that it likes water. So you do have to keep it out of the water a little bit. Not that water is going to hurt it, but water is going to temporarily take its color away. If you get it too wet, if you left it in water for 5 minutes, it would start to absorb water. It'll turn milky. Then after a while, it'll turn totally clear. And in 2 or 3 days, which it may take that long to dry out, the color will come back. That is, some people might think that's a detriment, but it actually is a big benefit because hydrophane opal doesn't craze. So unlike some Australian opal, many of the sources in Australia, crazing is the concern. So an Australian opal, you probably should not sell it for a year to know whether it's going to craze. And there are sources that we know won't craze, sources we know that will craze, guaranteed. So you do have to be a little careful when buying Australian opal because crazing is a concern. I say some sources, no problem. The first opals I ever cut, I probably cut 10 opals. Took me the entire week to cut these stones. Every one of them crazed. The seller, of course, guaranteed it, but I paid $400 for the opals and spent a week cutting them, so it was a loser for me. So you do have to be careful with those opals and crazing, whereas this material is not going to craze on you because crazing is caused by loss of water. Water content can be as high as 20% in an opal. The higher the water content in non-hydrophane opal, the more likely it is to craze. And certain sources like the ones we've mined in Nevada, those will craze. So you just don't cut them. You keep them in water, and that's the best you can do with them. You got to keep them hydrated, otherwise they're guaranteed to craze. So, but again, these will not craze. This stone will not craze on you. But you do have to keep oils and things that can absorb into the stone away from it. So you keep it away from hairsprays and perfumes. I don't know those will affect it, but things with oils in it can affect this material. But it is such great material and generally safe to wear. Just avoiding liquids that can get on it is one thing that you have to be concerned about. But really great stone. So $10.80 is our online price. Appraised value on this is $1,520, and with the 15% off, it's $810. And up next must be this tanzanite. We have several tanzanites on tonight. Every one of them has something special about it. This one included. This one is just really, really blue. You know, this is a sapphire blue stone, extremely intense color, beautifully cut, high clarity. But if you want a blue tanzanite, this is a stone for you. Weighs 3.18 carats. Overall quality grading, don't have it on there, do we? Well, you have to look on. No, it's a 975, which is, for stones I didn't cut, that's about as high as they get. Although the cutting on this is very high, it's probably what affects the grading, but a 975 means the cut is really, really good, the clarity's high, and the color is the best. So this stone really has everything going for it. Its praise price is $3,660. Our price online, $2,210, and with 15 off is $1,878. So if you're looking for a blue tanzanite, this is the one for you. You know, the percentage of violet in it is very low. It's probably at least 80% blue, maybe even higher, could be 90%. But
size for pendant or a ring, right?
it's nice size. I don't know, you got any rings? That must be something there that'll fit in.
It was probably a little big. Again.
What's this one? That's too big.
Yeah,
It's close, but
if I can lay that in there.
yeah, or that pendant. So this is a pendant design that Chris does. That's either set plain like this or has diamonds all the way through it.
Sorry, I'm a rookie hand model.
Yeah. May have to fire this guy. You can't quite get it in focus. There you go. So I say that design, that entire top can be covered with diamonds or just done plain like this. We've done it both ways, and it's a very, very nice looking piece.
Doesn't look so good in gray, but
Yeah, well. These are they're not wax models, but they're
photopolymer.
A photopolymer resin that these are in. Yeah. So, and they work great as rings too. Make a beautiful ring or pendant, bracelet. Yeah, it's close. But so again, it's a 318, $1,878 is total on this one.
Big old thumbprint in it.
Oh, it looks better on green.
It's the unique halo. And then diamonds down the shank. A little milgrain on it.
Milgrain's the little dots that go around each of those raindrop shaped kind
Yeah,
of.
it's also on the sides too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And the milgrain down the side of the shank there. I don't know if we have that one in stock or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, should have. Yeah, it's a good piece. Cool. All right, and up next is, got that piece of opal there, this big ass thing. This one.
Oh,
You're out of order there. Out of order, Chris. So, this is off of Mineral Mike. Of course, Mineral Mike is Mike here. It's his website where he sells crystals and mineral specimens and some opal. And this is really a spectacular piece of opal. This weighs 98.45 carats. And what's great about this piece is solid. I mean, if you show them the other side, when you look at this opal, when you see the opal on the back side, let me see, what did I do with that light? I don't know if I can. And you can light it and you can see through it like that. You know that this piece is just solid opal all the way through it. I would guess that this 98 carat will cut somewhere around 60 carats. If you're a cutter out there, you can get some surprises out of these that material can sometimes go into the piece, but this one looks really, really solid. And a 60 carat opal like this could go for $6,000. So really high yield off this piece as a cabochon, and the cab would actually be the other side of the piece, and the opal that's showing would be the back side of it. Just really, really nice piece of opal. So this opal, as a 60 carat, I've got it appraised at $6,400. The price online is $1,799, and with the 15 off, it's $1,529. So for a cutter, should be an easy 3-time markup, maybe 4-time if you get lucky and get that 60 carat out of it. Because the colors in this are really spectacular and just solid throughout, as many of these opals are. A lot of the opals I've cut, it's hard to decide which side of the color is better, the top or the bottom of the stone that you cut. Because the colors are just typically solid all the way through. As you can see when this rotates, it has the full solid brilliance on the back when you look through the openings there.
Pretty good specimen as well.
Yeah, it's a good specimen too.
Because it's got the rough on the back and then a nice big face on it.
Yeah, if you're into specimens, I suppose. Some of us would rather cut stuff. This is one that if somebody doesn't buy it, I should take it and cut it. And, because there's better money in the cut stone, I think. Well, for sure there is. And cutting 50, 60 carat opals is kind of fun. Not a little harder to sell once they get into that price range, but, such a great value here. It is a good specimen. Because it shows, many of these opals, you just see little windows into the color, and you can't really tell just how much good material is there. But this one, like I say, you can see all the way through it, and you can see that the whole piece is a solid opal.
Show them the size of it, like outside the camera.
Over here, in this.
Oh,
just to give them an idea how it's a pretty big piece.
Yeah, it's a big piece. I'm going to throw it up there somewhere. Yeah, it's a big. It's not gonna.
Yeah, the color doesn't do well to on the camera. But
Yeah.
Cool.
that's a good size.
Yeah, nice opal. Probably not the first stone you'd want to cut if you're new to cutting, but it's a really great stone. And I think you have more on your website, smaller.
A few.
A few. It's
Sold
been.
quite a bit of it.
Yeah, COVID's been tough because we haven't been able to get together with our suppliers, and there's some bad things going on in Ethiopia. Hopefully, it doesn't affect the supply. Way in the north and in the south, there's trouble going on. There's a group in the south that's against the government of Ethiopia, and one in the north, and I hear they're getting together and causing problems. So Hopefully it doesn't affect the supply. The supply is somewhere, it's north of, I don't even think Addis Ababa. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Addis Ababa. Anyway, the source is not in the trouble area, but getting close, so hopefully it won't be affected, because the mining in the south, which is emerald, we got some morganite out of there and some aquamarines, I think that has been affected significantly. So hopefully it won't affect the supply of opal, and maybe we get lucky in Tucson and our supplier will come, and because it's been 2 years now because of COVID since we've been able to buy anything. So hopefully we'll be back into some opal soon.
Before we go into the next piece, the tanzanite you had previously.
The 3 carats, 18.
What's that?
Yeah.
Okay. This person wants to know, how significant is the depth percentage in assessing the cut in a tanzanite such as this one?
Well, it's important. Couple of things that depth does for you. Always deeper is better than shallower. You can cut a stone too shallow and affect its brilliance. It's hard to cut a stone too deep and affect its brilliance. They tend to get more brilliant the deeper you cut them. I don't know what the percentage on this. I would guess it's pushing 80%. But deeper is better for brilliance, as you can see with this stone. I mean, it's just lively as can be. But what depth, how it affects you negatively is the deeper it's cut, the smaller the face size. So a deeper cut, you'll get a smaller millimeter for a given weight. But for brilliance, depth is a good thing. I've always related on this show about going to Bangkok and looking at stones, and, you look into a big parcel. I can remember looking at a parcel, probably had 80 sapphires in it. And one just stood out and just said, buy me, buy me, buy me. I pulled it out and it looked literally like a snow cone, but it was the most brilliant stone in the bunch, but it was way too deep. It was probably 120% depth, meaning it's deeper than it is wide. But the brilliance was extraordinary. So deep is better for brilliance. But you want somewhere to moderate. Best depths are probably, you can be as low as 60%. Probably best brilliance is 65 to and up. And for size, you're in the middle 70s would be the ideal range as far as being able to produce brilliance and also have a reasonably big face size. So.
Not only that, but what Chris has got to do, you got to think about the design too for something that deep.
Yes.
Overly deep.
Yeah, and depth can affect a ring. Overly deep stones have to set up higher. Some people don't mind it up high and prefer it that way. But knowing that the deeper the stone is, the higher it's going to set off your finger. In a pendant makes no difference. It's not going to affect the looks of the piece in a pendant. But in a ring, greater depth is just going to look higher. And you can't set deep stones into standard mountings because they're not meant for those greater depths. But when Chris designs, it's not a problem. You just design for the depth. So, okay.
And just kind of a shout out. Jan just wanted to say thank you. She's excited about her tanzanite ring. I guess she drove out here from Detroit.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, thanks for coming. She drove 5 hours to see us, which was nice. I appreciate you coming, and you got a great stone. Made me do a little extra work. Had to pull a stone out of mounting, but it worked out well. I really appreciate you coming, and I think they were just setting another stone into that setting today. We talked about it today, and so yeah, thanks for coming. You're all welcome to come from wherever. I don't know what the farthest we've had. We've had some people drive even further than Jan drove, just to come see us. And
Canada.
Canada, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember where they were. And
It was right over the border, but they came all the way from
yeah. So, yeah, internationally they'd come to see us.
Counts.
One last question. For the the Tanzanite investment lot, can 2 of the cushions be matched for an earring set?
Yes. Yeah, I think 2 of them are pretty well matched.
Okay.
I'm not going to sell them to you as 2, but you want to buy the 5, I think you can, yeah, I think 2 of them are close enough. You got a head between them if they're not exact, that, but the colors are very, very close and the sizes are very close. I think if you look at the sizes online, they're probably within a half a millimeter. Yeah, there's 10.7 and 11, so I think all 3 of them are very, very close, and I do believe that 2 match better than the others. I'm not sure if it was that one. But yes, there's a pair of earrings in there. Big earrings, but yeah, definitely a pair.
That's all I got.
Okay. Moving right along. What's next? So here's a tourmaline. I don't know. You're gonna have to do this with fingers, I think. This is really cool. Yeah, you can. I like this one a lot, just because when I look at it as a ring, this is how I see it. I don't think it'll make a great pendant. It's the right size and shape for a great pendant, but it doesn't show its brilliance like it would in a ring. In a ring, you can get this flash you see in the picture to flash at you every time you move it. So I just see a really, really cool ring. I mean, it's a long piece. It would be knuckle to knuckle, but it's a special stone to do as a ring. It would be unique, just something, a pleasure to look at. But again, I see it only as a ring. That's the only way I see it working, just because you don't get that flash when it's just sitting in a pendant looking at you. Maybe if you set it crossways, I think you could do it. But, it just has a unique flash to it that would be very special in a ring. Yeah. Anyway, it weighs 19.29 carats, measures 31 millimeter long, so it's a millimeter. An inch is 26 millimeters, so it's longer than an inch. And it appraised value of $7,850. $36.20 is our price online. Maybe you should put it between your fingers and yeah. See if we can get that.
Yeah, you can't.
It's a
Just get my fingerprints all over it.
We should have practiced with this one. Anyway, you get that full flash of brilliance when you rotate it, like that. And when it's on your finger, it's just going to flash at you like that every time you move your finger. So this tourmaline, $3,620 is our price online. With the 15 off, it's $3,077. So 19 karat, which is a pretty big tourmaline. These big bars like that, you see them, but usually they're overly dark and won't show you the kind of color that this one has. Just a slightly blue to the green, which is a little more special than the stones with secondary yellows in them. Comes from Brazil. And I've had this rough for a while. I probably bought this 10 years ago. And
You just cut this?
nah, I cut it a while back, but not too long ago. All right, moving along. Yes. Uh-huh.
This kind of bracelets, or this kind of bracelet.
Yeah, bracelet would be good for this one too.
Could it be used in a bracelet?
Oh yeah, you bet. Tourmaline's a good hard stone, tough stone. It would be perfect as a bracelet also. Same effect, you get it in a ring. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a cool bracelet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris could design that. We haven't done a bracelet in a long time, but we've done many. Yeah.
You did that. It was kind of this shape with Rwanda amethyst, right? You should put together one.
You remember that?
Yeah.
was it opal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did an opal one too.
They were both bangle styles, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, bracelet would work. So just a reminder, if you just joined us, those of you that are watching, and only those of you that are watching, we have 15% off site-wide at tanzanitejewelrydesigns.com. This is what our Black Friday deal will be. And for you, for the next week, you can go on Tanzanite Jewelry Designs, and using the coupon code EARLY, you'll be able to get 15% off anything that's on that site.
That goes in unison with this, which is a different site.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So the rest of the stones, you go to MoreGems.com, which is the green bar below. Use same coupon code EARLY, and you can take off 15% off any of the stones
That you
are
see
listed
tonight.
at the top of the bar, or the green bar at the top of the website.
Okay.
So 2 different websites, 2 different sales. But
It'll change up this week, but big savings. And again, you can buy through using credit card. You can use PayPal. We have financing, or you can even call us to do a layaway. So really easy to make a purchase.
Okay. Next, we have another tourmaline. This is chrome tourmaline. Chrome tourmaline is, it's not that one, Chris.
You're going out of order.
No, this one. Here, that guy.
I thought you were on the sapphire.
Novices, I tell you.
hey, it's doing a great job.
I appreciate it. I usually have to do this, so it's easier on me for sure. So this is chrome tourmaline. Chrome tourmaline is definitely one of my favorites. It is a gem that produces the vivid greens that you see in Savarite garnet, in emeralds, but it is the best price of the 3 of them. A Savarite that's in this size is a $1,500 stone. An emerald that's in this size is a $5,000 stone. So the chrome tourmaline is definitely the buy of all the chrome green stones. Emerald is colored by chrome. This is colored by chrome. Savarite has chrome in it, but the coloring agent is actually vanadium in Savarite garnet. So I look hard and wide for chrome tourmaline. They're not easy to find really top material like this. But I do have some good sources that get me chromes, and you've seen many of these on our shows, and I just think it's the best buy in a greenstone for sure. So this is a carat 28, praise price of $1,600. $790 is our online price, and 15 off that is $671 using coupon code EARLY. And this is one color that definitely is actually better than what this camera is showing. I mean, it's just such a rich green, that the camera can't quite
hunter green.
can't quite reproduce this color. Nicely cut, good brilliance. Everything about it. Really special stone. Measures 7 millimeters. 7 millimeters, like a carat and a quarter diamond. So equivalent size to this chrome tourmaline.
So what would an emerald that size go for?
A carat 20. I mean, it's 3,000 a carat or 4,000 a carat. And you're not going to get it this clean. It's going to be filled. So it'll be enhanced by filling. Won't be this clean, won't be this brilliant. Emerald doesn't have the brilliance that chrome tourmaline can exhibit because of much lower refractive index. So, but, nothing negative. Well, I guess that it's a little negative about emerald, but, I still love emeralds too. And I just actually bought a carat 99. That's a beautiful, beautiful emerald. The problem with emeralds, because of the inclusions in them, they're almost impossible to photograph and do video of, because photographs and videos of these gems show everything that's in them. If it's included, you're going to see it all. So emeralds and rubies are always difficult for us to show online, just because what they look like in person and what they look like in the videos is totally different. So it's just tough to video included stones, even though they look good in person. They're just going to look horrible online. So, but the carat 99, if you're looking for an emerald, it's a really, really special stone. It's a few dollars more than this. I'm not quite sure where it's at, but it's 7,000-8,000, I think. I could be off on that. But 2 carat, and one benefit of emerald is they're low density, so a 2 carat looks like a 2.5 carat anything else. So just look bigger because of low density. But hey, whoop, time to take my pills. It's done. Yeah. So this chrome tourmaline comes from Tanzania. Really the only source. We hear reports that it comes from Kenya also, but I haven't seen that to be true. Single source. The issue with chrome tourmaline, and the reason I never cut it, because it always cuts too dark. You think it's going to cut beautiful, and it's just black. So much better to buy them cut, and you know what you're going to get. So, all right, moving along. And we have another stone that is one of our hidden gems, which is a Montana sapphire. This is a stone I cut. It's a carat 48, kind of a blue-green color, which is typical of the Montana material. This comes to us from Rock Creek, and it's not that blue. Oh, you gotta get over here and change. We'll try and adjust the camera to.
Yeah, that's
If it was that blue, we wouldn't be getting it for $1,580. It'd be look like a Yogo sapphire, and it'd be $15,000. There you go. Thank you, Michael. So this is a more accurate color, particularly daylight. This stone does a color change. It goes a little more blue, a little more green. But this is more typical of Montana sapphires. This comes from Rock Creek. The Rock Creek source is one of 2 areas that produces. We went to both Rock Creek on our last trip and to the El Dorado Bar. Blaze Wharton was the mine owner at the El Dorado Bar that we mined at. And you can go to his website, which is Gemshow.com, and you can see some nice sapphire there also. And I think he probably has sapphire rough for you cutters out there, and some cut stones. So this is a stone I cut, carat 48. It's an SI1 clarity. You can see there, you can see a reflection of the inclusion. Almost impossible to see in person. It's a vertical fracture that's in it, but you only can see it from the side. You can't see it front on this stone. So it gets an SI1 grading. Looks like we've had a sale. And what would that be, Jeffrey?
What do you think?
I have no idea.
I think you got it right once. So we got the Martha purchased the, I'll start it out, Vivid Green.
The
Chrome
chrome tourmaline.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Martha. Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll love it. It is better than you see online. Better than what you looked at. If you like it here, you're going to love it in person. Yeah, really, really a special stone, and yeah.
I don't know if it shows up on your black background here or not.
Yeah, it is a little dark, isn't it? Yeah, it shows. It's okay. So back to this one. Again, thanks, Martha. Yeah. Where was I? So this Montana Sapphire, the appraised price is $2,660, $1,580 online, and $1,185 with the 25% off as our hidden gem. $1,185, so it's like $700 a carat. And one thing about Montana sapphires, they bring more money than like a stone from another source that's this color. Just the nature of the source. Just like Yogo sapphires, we talked about those. And a Yogo sapphire that looks like similar to a stone from Sri Lanka is probably 10 times the price. It's a crazy difference, and that's a lot to do with the source, whether it's right or not. It is the nature of the material. So Montana sapphires definitely bring more money, although this one's not a lot of money at $700 or $800 a carat for a carat and a half. So unique color. Again, it'll color shift a little bit, a little more blue in daylight, a little more to the green in incandescent lighting. So it's I cut it as a step cut, both step pavilion and step crown. The one thing that I'll say about this is, compared to other sapphires, the cutting is better than you'll typically get. And talking about cutting, this is a stone, along with a few others you're going to see tonight, that I cut on this machine behind me, which is, does that show up, Michael?
What's that?
To them?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm changing the battery out on the
Okay, thanks. So the machine behind me is the Ultratech V5, and it is the machine of choice right now. It is the best machine on the market. I have many, many machines, but most of them are out of production, and an out of production machine is one that you'll get no parts for. So unless you're a machinist, can do it yourself, you're going to be out of luck when you have problems with it. The Ultratech V5 has been produced for 55 years now, and this machine, the parts are available. You can get them fixed when you need to. So it's very, very important for a cutter. And this machine will help you to be a great cutter. They're not inexpensive. I think this machine is it's over $5,000. I don't know if it's $5,500 right now. But they do have one that is lesser expensive, and still is the same basic machine. I think it's, the prices went up recently. I think the lesser expensive machine may be $4,000, and this one is somewhere $500 to $5,500. I should know this. I'm a rep, but I don't have those figures in front of me. But the important thing is, if you want to be a cutter, it's extremely important that you have the machine that will make it so you can sit down and that whatever problems you have are your problems, not the problem with the machine. So the Ultratech V5 now is $5,290, and the VL is $3,790. And you can the VL does not come with the digital readout, but you can add it to it for another $500. So for $4,290, you have a very similar machine to the one behind me. But that said, it it is very important, that you learn on a machine that actually will do what it's supposed to do, because many machines, including ones that you buy used, the accuracy is not as good. So you really have to play with the machine to get things right. When you cut a facet and go to polish it, it doesn't come back to the same place. So you have to cheat the machine to make it work. Whereas this machine comes back to the same place. You cut the facet, you polish the facet on the same settings. So much easier. It'll make your life much easier as a new cutter. And as a professional cutter that's cut for years, it is just a real pleasure to use this machine. So at least 3 or 4 of the stones tonight are cut on this machine, and the accuracy of them is very high accuracy, just like this. If you look at the facets, they line up, and the polish on it is very good and just so much easier to use. So that's my plug for Ultratech, So where were we? We finished this sapphire? I think we did. Okay.
All right, a few questions
Uh-huh.
before we move on here.
And let me say one thing. If you do happen to order a machine, mention my name, because I'll get a little cut out of it too. So, because I do rep them, and so I have to tell you that I'm biased, but I'm biased in the right way, because I've used many machines, and I have many machines, and this is as good as you can get. Okay, go on, Jeff. Sorry.
All right. So first of all, Wendy, she was after that chrome tourmaline as well.
Oh.
So you can get her information in.
Well, I don't have rounds, but I have several others that haven't hit the website.
Okay. So here's
Emerald
some-
cut. I have some more material. Not around, but I have several good ones that I just bought. So if we get your information, I can show you what we do have. So if you're open to a different shape, I have some very, very nice stones.
So Wendy, you can reach out to us. If you go to the website, there's a little contact us form. Just shoot us a message, and we'll be able to help you out there. And then let me go back here. Alberto wanted to know the citrine that we showcased earlier. How would you rate the refractive index on that stone?
Well, the refractive index of quartz is relatively low, but it is amazing the brilliance you can get from a quartz. I cut a 577 carat quartz that people just said, it looks like a diamond. And it did have brilliance like a diamond. But the refractive index at 156, maybe, is relatively low. With like sapphires, 177. And the higher the number, the greater the potential for brilliance. But it's still amazing how much brilliance you get out of this. And if you look at the videos, you can see it. Just a surprising amount of brilliance for something with a low refractive index. Diamond has a refractive index of 260. I don't know. Kind of starting to forget some of these unused numbers, but it's pretty high. That's why diamond has such a great brilliance. But look at the brilliance of the stone. You'll get a little less rotational value as you can look through the stone. You'll see when you're not dead on, it loses a little brilliance, but you won't have any complaint about the brilliance in the stone. It'll amaze you, and it helps. Marcia that cut it, she just did a beautiful job, beautiful polish, so you can get great brilliance out of quartz, even though it has a low refractive index. So up next is a stone of extreme brilliance and very high refractive index. Speaking of refractive index, this is 181. We have a tool we use, a refractometer, that will tell you 90% of all the gems that are out there. Won't tell you this one because it only goes up to 181, and this is 181, so it won't read this stone. So blue zircons are extremely brilliant. That refractive index gives it a diamond-like brilliance. This particular stone weighs 5.22 carats. And has a little more, this shows some of the green. The difference with blue zircon is it's slightly greenish blue. The color is unique because of that little green. It takes it out of what looks like aquamarine or looks like blue topaz. That little bit of green to it adds a unique color to blue zircon. But the brilliance is what's really special about blue zircon. This particular stone weighs 5.22 carats, and it is real dense material. The specific gravity is high, so you get a little less size for its weight, but it makes it up in its brilliance. The appraised value is $2,088. $1,250 is our online price, and with 15 off, it's $1,062. We sell a lot of blue zircon. People just love the way it looks and love that little bit of green to it, and just as a really, really unique stone. This comes from Cambodia, now called Kampuchea. I hear it may be going back to Cambodia. And the picture online is pretty representative of that little bit of green that's in it. Not exactly, because the green is pretty much spread through the stone, whereas the video kind of shows it as patchy. So special stones, blue zircons. It's December's birthstone. We showed you imperial zircon earlier, so we were talking about the brown, and this stone also started out as brown. I have some rough around. It's just a deep brown. You heat it, the brown goes away, much like tanzanite. Tanzanite is brownish when it starts, and you heat it up and turns blue. So similar situation here.
Question on the zircon. Rand G wants to know, why do your zircons usually have deep pavilions and shallow crowns?
Well, the crowns aren't typically too shallow. They look shallow compared to the depth. All of them are deep. You generally will not find them that are deep. Finding them that don't look like snow cones is the tough thing. So this stone is relatively shallow for blue zircon. I mean, you look at many blue zircons, and they are, 150%. They're 8 millimeters wide and they're 12 millimeters deep. That is the real situation with blue zircon. So these are actually really well cut, not overly deep, even though they are deep. I don't know what the percentage on this one is. It's probably 85%, but for a blue zircon, that's pretty shallow. Yeah.
Real pleasure to set, too.
Do it.
So it's a real pleasure to set.
Yeah, those really, really deep ones.
Especially in a bezel.
Yeah, I've got one here in stock that's 120%. You debate whether to cut it, then you look at it face up. It's so beautiful. You hate to recut it, but you're happy to get them that aren't extremely deep. Yeah, I'm not sure where the percentage depth. The percentage depth will be on the website, but I think, usually. So anything in a blue zircon that's less than 85% is unusual. So
no concern with setting then.
No, this isn't. Standard mountings, can be an issue. You can find them that'll take stones this deep, but it's a limiting factor. There's just not enough prong on them to set a stone. But for us, for Chris, it's no issue. He deals with it all the time. Because Portuguese round stones, which is one of our most popular stones, is always 85% depth, occasionally 90% depth. So, we do deal with it regularly. And again, brilliance is not a negative, it's a positive with deeper cut stones. So this is, this is only 6 millimeters deep. Oh, shallow stone. What's 6 divided by 8 is percentage depth is, if I had some light for this calculator. Phew, shallow, 75% depth. You can't get them shallower than that. Yeah.
And with this, gentleman wants to know if you can hold it in your, I think he's thinking about a ring for it. Can you put it on your finger?
Give him the finger, Chris. Yeah, it's hard to see in there.
Maze over here.
Yeah. I don't know. Can we get it? It probably doesn't help. Almost have to do it up here.
Yeah.
Let's put it in the tweezer.
Need one of those anti-gravity machines, so it just holds it up, you know.
Yeah, they have those.
It's not in focus, but maybe I'll give you an idea. I have a pretty big hand, so
Put it over your pinky.
over my pinky.
Yeah, you got big fingers there. At least you use some lotion this time.
Hey,
No crusty hands.
Those are looking like dishwasher hands right there. Those are looking pretty nice, actually.
when you're 70, let's see what your hands look like.
I was a dishwasher. That was my first job.
Yeah, you were a dishwasher. Yes, you were a
Ladies loved
dedicated
my
one.
hands when I was a dishwasher.
Yeah.
So smooth.
I think your mother, I think you quit once and your mother made you go back, didn't she?
Yep.
You have a car payment. You're going back to work. It's exactly what his mother told him.
I could go back to the most stress of my life being washing dishes. Oh, that was fun.
I don't know.
All right. Blue zircon, special stone. And it's been tough to get with COVID too, you know, because my suppliers are directly from Cambodia and haven't seen them in 2 years. You know. These actually came from a friend that went to Bangkok recently and brought these back. So
Is this the Mahenge?
yeah, it is. Is that
that
what's
what's next?
next? It is. So the next one is a Mahenge garnet, much like the one that was in the ring that Martha bought.
No, that was another gentleman.
Oh, okay. That was,
Bob, maybe.
I don't know, whoever bought it. Thank you. So this is a Mahenge garnet, really, really a pretty color. This Mahenge is the source of these lighter color garnets. Again, finding garnets this color before this source was almost non-existent. You know, they're just much, much lighter than any garnets from any other source. Just produce such a beautiful color. What, are you back on
Landscape.
landscape? Okay. Just these lighter colors, what it does for you is produces a much greater brilliance. So light is so much easier to cut to get them a lively color. Yeah. And the color you see online is pretty darn accurate to what the color is, and it really is a special color. You know, there's not too many gems that produce this vivid of, I don't even know what call the color, kind of a violet pink, if that's even a color.
Fuchsia.
Fuchsia. Yeah, not quite fuchsia.
Dark salmon.
Yeah, fuchsia-y. Dark salmon. Don't count on Jeffrey for color. Dark salmon. Okay.
Wild
Hey.
caught salmon.
It's Alaskan.
But beautiful stone, beautiful cut, just very lively brilliance. You know, it weighs 3.50 carat. As we've talked about before, you know, with this source, garnet became so popular. You know, it forced the price of garnets up significantly. They probably doubled the price of what the general garnet went for. And rightfully so. I mean, they look diamond-like. They have colors that are not available in most other stones. Such a great amount of brilliance and just a beauty to them that and rarity. You know, they have all those factors that really say I should be more valuable, and they became more valuable. You know, every cutter I know is looking for garnets. That's what people want to cut, and finding them in stones that'll cut over 2 carat is pretty difficult. When the source came out, I cut some Malayas that were 10 carat sizes, but nothing available these days like that. Hopefully this source will produce again. There's been some reports that the mining stopped because of the spinels that are associated close by with this material. The spinels bring 3,000-4,000 a carat. So the people mining spinels supposedly forced people out of the area that were coming in and mining illegally. Whether that's the truth, I would hope that's the truth, but I don't know. That is not just the story. So whether we'll see these materials coming out of there again or not, hard to say. They come out sporadically. We see some mehenges, but very, very difficult to find. So this one's $10.50. Appraisal is $14.90. 15 off is $892. It'll make a special piece.
It's diamond-like brilliance in it.
Yeah, just really, really outstanding brilliance. Yeah, and that's garnets. They have a high refractive index. This material will be somewhere 174, so that is a very high refractive index. So.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
So it's from Scott. He admits this may be a stupid question. There's no stupid questions, but
yeah, well, there's a few. We've had them. We'll judge this one.
Yeah. Okay, so he wants to know why some rough gemstones are so much cheaper. He says, I buy gems for rock tumbling, then look at the prices in rings. Is it because the gemstone is cut, or is it because of the gold silver ring? Which one jacks up the price after buying a rough stone?
Well, generally the answer is, most of the rough is just not that special. The amount of material, I got to look so far to find something that's really extraordinary. And when you get something extraordinary, there are so few of them out there, and that's where the value is. An average quality piece of rough, you may spend $100 for it. A great piece of rough, you may spend $2,000. Same material, not a huge difference in what it is, but enough difference that it makes one special and one not. And that's generally where it's at. And most of the rough out there is either not worth owning, or when you cut it, it has low value. But finding the special stones like this one, it's 1 in a million stone. And that's generally the big difference. When you see it cut and you go, I saw a rough like that was 100th of that price. Well, it probably wouldn't cut the same as this, and that's generally the difference. The mounting, of course, makes difference, and but it's usually just the overall quality of the stone. There's a huge difference from good to great. Good to great is not double the price; it's 10 times, 20 times, 100 times the price is the difference. I don't know if that answers your question, but
well, I would say, I know you don't want to. You're being modest here, but it's also the cutter.
Well, and the cut, of course, yes, yeah.
We get emails weekly about other people wanting you to cut their stones because they've seen your work. So
yeah, cutting quality, it makes all the difference, and what you do with a piece of rough is the most difficult thing about the whole thing. When you get a piece of rough, for me, the cutting is the easy part. Deciding what to cut, how to cut it, finding out how to get the best stone out of it, how to get the clean stone out of it, because not every piece of rough is perfectly clean, perfectly shaped. So it is the job before the cutting that is actually the hardest part of the whole process. Cutting the stone for me is pretty much straightforward, and once you start cutting it, it's just the process. It's it's time, and the machine does, well, it doesn't do it all, but
Experience.
it's figuring out rough, period. What's good rough, and what to do with that piece of rough is the hardest part of this entire job. The cutting end of it, I can teach anybody to do it, but figuring out what to do with a piece of rough is hard for me and not something you can easily teach somebody. And some people just cannot do it. Some people can't cut. There's a lot of people that just can't cut. They physically don't have the mind for it. And, I sometimes think I could teach anybody to cut. I know it's not true, but, and it's somewhat genetic too, because I've seen it in my family that I can cut and they can cut and, but I've seen many other people and tried to train many people that just physically they couldn't cut. So.
That's good.
Oop. Yeah, sale. Yeah.
Yes, and this person beat out 2 people and beat out Wendy again.
Oh no,
Sorry.
Wendy.
Uh,
So we want to thank Janine. She picked up the Mahenge garnet.
okay.
Thanks, Janine.
Thank you, Janine. Janine? Janine.
Janine?
Thank you.
I think it's Janine.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
keep track of us. The next time I'm going to see material like this is probably Tucson, if we get lucky, and some of my suppliers come in with material. It's so the end of February would be when I'd be cutting more material. I do have a few pieces of it. I have one that I need to recut that's kind of this color. So if you're really interested, give me a call and I know there's at least one more of this kind of quality, but I've looked at it and just say, I need to recut this and just haven't done it because it's a little bit shallow. So it loses a little brilliance because of that, but I may cut it. And, for most people, they don't look at it as being shallow. And it's torn me because I go, it's almost just right, but not perfect. So I haven't recut it. So I can show it to you in a video and see if it pleases you as it is, because it is a really nice color similar to this. A little bigger, I think. I think it's 4 karat something. So I may have something, and if not, keep track of us. And, I'm always looking for this material, and hopefully we'll get lucky. So, because my supplier from Tanzania typically will show up in Tucson. And we'll see him before the show starts. And if he's got it, we're going to get it. So
That's in February.
in February, yep. All right, cool. And up next is an amethyst. This is a recut. I don't know if I ever had this on a show or not. But I recut it. I looked at it and I go, wow, that needs help. It's going to be tough to show here. It's going to look dark, but this is really a special amethyst. It actually comes from Brazil, but looks like Rwanda. It just has a great color. Again, we've practiced with this stone. It's going to show a little bit dark here, but although it's a very dark stone, and it's the only way you're going to get a beautiful color in amethyst is when they are dark. They show that strong dichroism that you expect from a really special amethyst. And this will have the blue and the reddish violet in different lights that makes them special. So what you see in the video is more accurate probably than what you see here that we're showing. And it's actually a little deeper. Yeah, it's a great stone. All I can say, I opened up the table. It was overly dark. The table was very, very small on it. So I recut the table, made it bigger, and it really popped. I'm really happy with the stone now. So
The weight's a little different too.
yes, this is the original weight. When I cut the table, it cut it down about 1/2 karat. So the 1989 is the old weight. I think it's now 1934 is the weight of it currently. But the price is still the same.
Made it a better
Oh man, it a world of difference. I don't think I put it on a show just because it just wasn't right. So now it's a really, really beautiful amethyst, and tough to get this color. And surprising that this material from Bahia, Brazil, cuts this kind of color. if I'd have known that it cuts this color when it was available, I did buy a kilo of it. I'd have bought 5 kilos of it because it really is a top material. The best of it is cuts as good as almost any other source. I will say Rwanda had a little step up on it, but Rwanda was available for 6 months and that was it. And but this is really a great stone. $2,280 is the appraised price. $1,190 is what we have it online for, and it is $1,011 with the 15% off. So
That's hexagonal from the video. You can see that. Remember that game Cubert with the little hexa,
Cubert.
Was that Atari? Which I just found our old Atari system. But
Cubert.
no, the cuts you did on the side just look amazing.
Yeah, they're a little different.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
Hubert.
I never heard of Cubert. You're too young. You're even born yet when that was out.
Yeah, it's kind of unique with those
It's the
hexagon
worst game
facets
ever.
on it.
It did upset you a lot, but what's the size wise? Is that good for a ring or would it be?
Well, it's a big ring, but I'm making one this is 17 millimeters, so big ring, but not huge. Yeah. And if you like big, it's a wearable ring. This is one that's a deeper cut because this is 85% depth. But
Made much bigger
that's the
rings.
nature of this type of cut, these multifaceted cuts. Although I'm not sure looks like I did more of a, not sure what I did on the pavilion on this. I have to wait till it comes around. Yeah, it's kind of cool, the faceting pattern on the top. So the pavilion is, it's a 3-step Portuguese. A full Portuguese round has 5 steps on both sides. This has 3 steps, top and bottom. So unique cut. I haven't named it, but something that's different than typically you see in the book. It's the Cubert cut.
Hubert cut.
Yeah. So
Telling you.
I have to Google search that.
Yep, you definitely should. I probably have the game at home. I'll bring it over.
Just Google worst game ever.
Oh, that was E.T.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Question off topic. James wants to know if you've ever seen or cut facet grade Amazonite from Vietnam.
no.
Facet grade Amazon. Be cool to see. So it's what is that? It's orthoclase or plagiate place, something like that.
Not sure offhand. Amazonite. Never had one, never cut one. So
Okay.
can't help you there. Nope, haven't seen it.
Probably cool.
Facet grade. From where? Jeffrey?
What?
What was the source? Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Okay. I'll look for it. So up next is a sapphire ring. Michael,
Yeah.
a little change here.
Yes.
So this video is close in daylight. This will change to a little more purple. This stone is kind of a light lavender. This comes from Blaze Wharton's mine. Blazing Gems is his website. He was kind enough to have us there to go mining. And this is one of the gems from that mine. I cut this stone, and the unique thing about this material, it is all natural. No heat treatment to this. Most of it won't heat treat. So what you get from the Eldorado bar is typically natural color. Some of it will heat if it's got silk in it, which a few of the stones I had have some silk in it, and they may heat, maybe not. And once you heat them, typically they'll get a little more blue, would be what would happen to them. But most of it won't heat, and this is a stone that probably wouldn't heat. Because this one is... yeah, I'm not sure what the clarity on this stone. Pretty clean stone. And again, a unique cut, and just cut with a really lively brilliance and different color. Kind of a lavender blue coloration to it. Stone weighs... oh, sapphire ring. I don't know what stone weighs. Carat something. Carat and a half? Carat and a half. Eldorado bar, carat and a half sapphire. The sapphire ring appraised value is $3,900. Our online price $2,875, and with 15 off, it's $2,440.
Can I just say I love this ring.
Yeah. Well, you probably found that stone.
Like if this was in like a man's ring, or like that's like a colored stone. I don't know that color and the white. I don't know if it's because I was on the trip where we found this, or it just looks really cool. I don't know. I like the combination. I like that lighter, look. It just looks very modern, and I don't know. Cool.
They've been popular. I mean, we've sold most of the stones we've got, and Montana sapphire is just a unique color. 20 years ago, a lot of the colors that come out of there weren't saleable. But the whole market has changed. We've talked about this and how people are interested in colors that I didn't think were saleable, and many colors have just become very, very popular. And the one we always bring up is the gray spinels, which are kind of like this, but not as pretty, but the hottest stone on the market for the last 3 or 4 years. Gray spinel went from not saleable to hot. So, the whole marketing of colors, I have to rethink my mentality of the last 45 years and start thinking outside the box and thinking that more colors than what I think are the best are saleable. So it's a total change in the marketing, and has made Montana sapphire some of the hottest stones on the market right now. There's so much interest in Montana colors. It's a whole new market for sure. And that's part of our future is in sapphire. We've been working hard to find new sources, and we've found some sources in Sri Lanka that will be very good for us, and we hope to see them here shortly and get some new material coming out of Sri Lanka about that. And they also have buyers in Madagascar, which when I traveled to Madagascar, the primary competition I had for sapphire that came from Alakaka at the time were all Sri Lankans. They had set up office there in Alakaka, and they still are set up there. And so we hope that this supplier in Sri Lanka will become a very good source for us for sapphires, both in fancy colors and in blue, because Sri Lanka produces some of the finest blues in sapphire anywhere in the world, as Madagascar does also. So unique stone, unique piece, and we'll have a lot more sapphires from Montana here in the future. I have some good rough somewhere here. Oh, here's probably showing the bag is, I don't know if you can see it in the bag or.
Doesn't look like it.
Maybe we put it on some white. It'll probably be out of focus, but these are all Rock Creek sapphires. I don't know. Let me hate adjusting the focus, but that's all material from Rock Creek. These are all heated. Rock Creek does heat because it has silk in it. So, Rock Creek was barely saleable before they learned how to heat it. And now that they've learned how to heat it, they sell everything they get. We were at the mines, and, they can't produce enough material for the market. Everything they've got is just sold as quick as they mine it. So a lot of unique things, the one with multicolors, that'll be interesting to cut, but we'll see what we get out of that. But you can see a pretty good range of colors. A lot of them are the blue-green color. Fortunately, the blue-green is hot right now. So that's all Rock Creek. That'll cut carat and a half sizes. They don't come big. Getting a 2-carat Rock Creek stone is a difficult size to get. So, all right. And up next is another tanzanite, a little bigger.
Which one?
That big oval. I don't know. We have that your word winner. So this one, as well as all the tanzanites I have on here, this is a special piece. The color grade is just as good as it gets. There's the box there. There it is. So this stone is violet blue exceptional, so much more blue. It's a 40-60, so it has a nice mix. These are the kind of color ranges I think are the best. Something that still shows both the blue and the violet, but this one will be stronger to the blue. Yeah. So this one, appraised value of $14,850. Our online price is $74.90. And with the 15% off, this is $63.66, 11-carat stone. Overall quality rating on this is a 980. It's just rare they get any better than that. Maybe up a little bit. Well, stay right there. There we go. So really, really well cut stone. To get that kind of rating, it's flawless, top color, and just really well cut. So again, on Tanzanite Jewelry Designs, those of you that are watching, you can get this 15% off our entire website on Tanzanite Jewelry Design with the coupon code EARLY. And that will last till 11/17. So for the next week, you can get that 15%, which is what we're running on Black Friday as our special.
And that includes earrings, pendants, rings, right?
Earrings, pendants, rings. It did include bracelets, but we just sold the bracelet today that you put together. So this one, as you can see, those flashes will be red flashes that you're seeing there. Again, that's a rare occurrence in tanzanite, but this is really a top gem.
So what's an 11-carat look like on the pendant, ring?
So this again is Chris's award-winning design. Is this? It is, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the bigger version.
So a larger version of it. I don't know. Is this the same as the winning piece, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think this is the size we did?
Yeah, I think it was close. Well, it was a little bigger than this one, but because it doesn't quite fill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one's, the mounting's a little big for this, but we sure could make it fit this stone. Yeah. Cool piece. Show me the side of that piece there, Chris. So this is what the that Mahenge garnet earlier was set in. just a larger version of it. And again, we can do any metal in this: platinum, 18 karat, 14 karat, white or yellow gold. But really a one-of-a-kind, really special stone. All right. Thanks. Was that it? And our next stone up is a tourmaline. We have a sale. And what is that?
What is it?
Yeah, what's the sale?
The sale is this tourmaline.
Well,
See, someone jumped in.
won't be much to say about this one. Somebody got to it before we could get to it. But that said, I have more material to cut. I bought maybe 4 or 5 pieces of rough this color because it's my favorite color. These just started coming out of the Congo just recently. First time I've seen this color of tourmaline from there. And I think I have a piece of rough here somewhere to show you. Yeah, there you go. So this is what the rough looks like. Got that white paper maybe on the background. Oop. Don't lose those sapphires. So that's the rough for this kind of color. You know, and there's my favorite garnet is Malaya garnet, and it has the same kind of color range. So it's my favorite color in gems, and I did buy several pieces of this. I buy everything I can get this color. So, you know, this will cut a nice stone somewhere in this size range, maybe a little bigger. But yeah, very, very pretty stone. It was a 4.63 carat. Guess that's all we need to say about that one. You know, we'll move on to something you can buy, but keep these in mind because I will cut more of them, and hopefully I'll see more rough. You know, you never know. There could be more, but I'll have 3 or 4 more stones in this color range sometime in the near future. And there's also the zircons that come this color range. The imperial zircons is very similar color. And we have several of those on the website. They're a little deeper, but the same color range. So I think we just, Chris, you made that ring with that for that zircon, didn't you? We just did the emerald cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just put a emerald cut ring on the website, which is a really pretty ring.
Yeah,
in the imperial zircon. So if you like this color range, take a look at those too. So up next is a really amazing, you won't believe the color on this thing. It's a black opal. I think we did this on another show, but I thought it was worth another round because I can't say I've ever seen anything like this. You know, this... You know, I think on the website I call it a semi-black, but I think in Australia they'd call this a black opal. And the color of it is truly extraordinary. Let's see if I can get that. You know, the flashes are as intense as I've seen in any opal. So it's a 13.50 carat. 67.50 is the appraised value. 5,400 on our site, and 4,050 is the price of this opal.
That's one of the rare 25s, the hidden gems.
Yeah, 20. Oh yes, it's one of our hidden gems. 25 off. You know, the last time we had it at 15 off, and I put it back on as a hidden gem for the 25 off.
Jeffrey, are you slacking?
I'm the chat moderator, okay? I'm trying to moderate.
So you
The hidden gem is up there now.
Yeah. But the color on this, if you look at a place like Black Opal Direct, when you see color like this, they are thousands per carat. Yeah, I don't know, as an Ethiopian Black Opal, I'm not sure what to say the real value of the stone is, but this is as extraordinary of opal as I've ever owned. And even flip it over, even the back side of it, I think has pretty remarkable color.
Look at those flashes.
Yeah, those little color bars that go across it.
Get my fingerprint off of it.
Yeah, from really broad red flash. And those bars turn blue in that direction. Look at the size of that red flash. I don't know what you'd call that.
Amazing.
Amazing, yeah. And that's what I consider the backside of this opal. Yeah. These opals kind of, when the lights are this close, they kind of, the colors are just blown out. When you get the light further away, the separation gets more distinct on it. But pretty amazing piece. And we have a sale.
Yes. You're going to be happy about this one.
I won't be happy.
You will be.
Is it this?
No.
Tanzanite?
Oh, okay.
Tanzanite what?
Oval?
No.
Oh, the investment package.
Investment package.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
Went
Yeah,
to,
no, I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Jane Boo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the last name right. Jane.
Jane. Cool, Jane. You're going to love it. It is, the price is right for sure, for great stones. I think you realize investment immediately, because you can see what we sell them for on the website, and I sell many of them at that price. So, it's only because I have so many of them right now that, and hopefully I'll be able to continue to buy it. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to sell them at this price. But I appreciate the sale, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy them.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Helps the evening. Yeah. Yeah, great stones. All right. Up next is one of those imperial zircons we spoke of. This is a round brilliant, and I think this one's from, it is from Tanzania. Didn't know, yeah, that's what it says. This kind of color sometimes you see from Mozambique. But I'm assuming I have the location correct as Tanzania. It's a 10 carat, 79. And just as brilliant as a gem can be. Again, that high refractive index helps. You'll see there is one inclusion there in the table that in person, very difficult to see. There is nothing you can hide in the videos of these stones. But just a really remarkable brilliance. You can see it right there. As you turn it, there's not many stones that are more brilliant than this.
That thing's screaming in my cases too with those LEDs, right?
Oh yeah, you put it in LED, it's just crazy. The
dispersion in them.
Yeah. Yeah, you get a lot of dispersion, which is break up a white light and spectral color. You can see it a little bit there. Diamond does it well, but these zircons also do a good job. Yeah, not much more brilliant than this. I don't know why is that too far down for you. Yep. There you go.
It's the doubling.
pretty rock. Yeah, the smaller table on this piece helps a lot, and that's another critical thing in stones is so often the tables are cut too big that it affects the brilliance. A lot of color cutters have gone to smaller tables. You can get them too small that it affects the brilliance, but smaller definitely is an aid in producing greater brilliance in a gem. Somewhere 50% is probably the ideal range. You can go down to 40. Any smaller can affect the brilliance negatively, but the things in 40 to 55% are probably the sweet range for producing a maximum brilliance.
So that's what, step cut crown and brilliant style pavilion? Or what?
Looks like it. I don't remember what I did on this. Again, a gem that was cut on the Ultratech back here. And it just does really a good job. Yeah. So $2,300 with the 15% off on this gem.
So ring size, pendant size?
Yes.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
No problem with either?
Yeah. Nice ring size.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool gems ring too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard gem. Zircons are pretty good durability. I mean, they're 7.5 hardness. Yeah. So harder than most other stones that we sell. So a lot of good things about it. Great brilliance, good hardness, and great color. So, and up next is it this tanzanite? Must be this emerald cut. Is a small but beautiful stone. The greatest difficulty in tanzanite is getting stones under 2 carat that really, really have fine color. And this has the best of the best color. And it is almost all blue. It is as blue as you're going to see a tanzanite. Sapphire blue, intense in a carat 43 is almost non-existent.
That's a pretty deep color.
Yeah, yes. I don't have another stone that would compare with this color in anything less than 3 carat. And almost nothing across the full range of stones I have that is any better. So this stone is appraised value of $1,290. Our online price is $695. $590 is the price with coupon code EARLY. Again, if you look at our website, Tanzanite Jewelry Designs, for the next week, those of you that have been listening tonight have the opportunity to take 15% off anything on the Tanzanite Jewelry Designs site.
No one else knows about it, but just you
No
guys.
one else.
And we're not
Yep.
promoting it.
Yep.
So,
That's their special
yep.
thing for showing up.
Yep, exactly.
But this is quite a gem, and it's a decent size. It's a 7x5 millimeter. But that color, you'll not see a stone this size better than this ever.
So all blues is fairly uncommon.
All blue. Well, this blue is almost non-existent. I mean, getting it with this high a percentage of blue is pretty rare. Right now, there is more blue stones available than ever before. You know, I've been told there's a single mine that's producing a lot of blues because I have more bluestones than I've owned in 40 years. Right now, I own more bluestones than I have ever owned in the 40-some years I've been in business. So it's a unique time. Whether it'll continue to produce, nobody knows, but I've seen a lot of bluestones. You know, not that I think tanzanite should be blue. I like the mix of colors, but there's some pretty extraordinary bluestones out there, and they're well worthy of owning. Many people think that blue is what they should be, but in general, blues have not been available like they are now. So the market for tanzanite was not created by blue tanzanites. It was created by stones with a mix of blue and violet. So we know the tanzanite is popular because of the mix, but right now it's a unique situation that we're finding as many blue stones as we do. You know. And a sapphire, that's a carat and a half. This blue, we're probably looking at $2,500 at least. So, all right, up next is kind of a unique peridot. Unique because of the color, that kind of lime, minty, blue-green color is only available from this source in Pakistan and rarely seen. Definitely a unique color and something that I've enjoyed cutting since this source was found. Pakistan started producing maybe about 15 years. And now the availability has dropped off significantly, but still produced.
I think it's been more than 15 years.
It could be, yeah.
20.
I lose track of it.
Because we're in 2021, right?
Yeah, it's probably late 90s is probably when it started producing. Could be middle 90s, I don't remember. You know, when it came out, the quantity of material was amazing. You know, literally could have bought a ton of it. You know, there was one supplier in Tucson, I've mentioned, Muhammad Ali, that he probably had a ton of it. You know, just amazing amount and huge. Some pieces that were fist sized, just crazy.
This is probably a little greener than it is, huh?
Probably. Yeah. It's greener than more limey green than this than shown in the camera. Yeah. And again, the inclusions you see are much less visible in person. You know, it's just the nature of the macro lens and bright lights on it. Well, that didn't help much, Michael. Yeah. The accuracy of what's online, the color is much more accurate for this stone than what that's showing. But a unique stone, big size, getting 10 caraters these days is quite difficult. Appraised price $4,700. Our online price $2,500, and with the 15 off, it's $2,125. All right, and our next stone is one more opal. It's the last hidden gem. So this is a 20.70 carat. It is it is actually crystalline material, but has more of an Australian opal look. You know, the body color is a little milkier than some we have, but the colors are extraordinary in it. You know, this is another gem I've probably shown on another show, but it was worth coming back and seeing again.
And getting a little bit better discount on it.
And yeah, you know, and it would have been 15% last time.
Yeah,
And this one's 25% off this time. Again, if these lights were further away, you would see what you see in the video online. But the colors are intense on it, and really throughout the stone, front and back. It's just beautiful colors in this piece. Weighs 20 carat. The price online is $36.80, and tonight it's $27.60 on this stone. And the video, somebody needs to retake that one, because this stone is much more amazing than what that video is showing. There you can see the kind of color that it has. Those bars are just intense, the colors that they show. Again, an Ethiopian opal. Measures about an inch across, almost a full inch across, 20 millimeters, like a little over 3/4 of an inch high.
Good pendant.
Yeah, make a great pendant. Let's see if I can show it as a pendant. Yeah, kind of give you an idea. All right, that's our last hidden gem. And next is another really special tanzanite. This is a round brilliant. Mm-hmm. And the color on this one is, so this is blue violet exceptional, and another good mix of the colors. It's 45% blue and 55% violet.
These two years aren't gonna hold it.
Just extremely brilliant stone. And I'm guessing this one will display red flash too. Generally, the cameras won't show it, but occasionally you can catch a glint of the red. And again, that's typically only in the deepest colors. So this one's got everything going for it. The overall quality rating of this one is unknown. Must be online. I don't have it on my box here, but it'll be 964. I think I was a little harsh on it. Yeah, although 964 is a great rating, this is really a special stone. And all the tanzanites we've shown tonight are just the best of what I've got. And this for a round is as good as I've ever owned. Well, there was one Portuguese that was pretty special. Yeah, that was. But this is really a special stone. Yeah. Cut, the clarity, everything about it is great. The appraised value is $6,025. $32.50 is our online price on it, and tonight with the 15 off, using coupon code EARLY, is $27.62. So it's really special, brilliant. It's 10 millimeters around. Really a great stone. And here's a piece of rough we didn't show. Oop, you want to show that? Peridot. It's kind of what the peridot looks like. This is some of the toughest stuff to cut. You can't see into it. It's till you start cutting, you don't know what you've got. And again, it's very rare to find clean peridot anymore. It always has something in it.
Is this Pakistani?
This is Pakistan, yeah. Really great color, but again, until you get into it, you don't know what you've got. Yeah, I dislike dealing with peridot a lot, although it's one of my favorite stones. Once they're cut and you get a beautiful stone, I just think they're a really special color.
My wife has 2 Portuguese cut peridots that you cut.
Yeah.
They're just amazing stones.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, for a stone that in the past people says, oh, I just hate my birthstone, because almost all of it came out of Arizona, and it was yellowy green, and, it's just a much, much better color these days what comes out of Pakistan. So it is a pleasure to cut when you get a clean stone, which you don't know until you're into it. So just a tough stone to buy the rough. I don't recommend it for you cutters out there to start with. It's just too difficult, too many bad surprises. Yeah.
Yeah, some of my favorite crystals too.
Yeah, and on Mineral Mike you'll find some great crystals. And that's something before recently I never saw really good crystals. And now we're just getting some really fine material direct from Pakistan. Just really special, nicely formed crystals. So take a look on Mineral Mike and you'll see those. As well as some great tanzanites. He's been selling a lot of tanzanite recently. You go find one of those, Mike?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. We'll show you one of the crystals, and it's kind of unique that up to a few years ago, I just never saw good crystals, even when it was coming out in quantity. I just was not seeing well-formed crystals. So this is something unique they've just started finding. Really great specimens. Most of the crystals are somewhat etched. They don't have that perfect, brilliant surface. Something to do with after they formed, the liquid they were in was somewhat caustic and gave it that little bit of etched look. So that's the natural crystal shape of peridot. And here's some of the tanzanites that are available on Mineral Mike.
Our chat moderator's battery died, so
Ah.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
You got a white piece of paper? Those are also 15% off too. I think.
Oh yeah. So although this is part of Mineral Mike,
No,
you will
no.
find these on Tanzanite Jewelry Designs. So the Tanzanites are also 15% off. So just really nice specimens.
I think I've got over 100 on there right now.
And he's got 100 different Tanzanite crystals. So one of his best sellers. So
What you got anything else to show them that's cool? Because Jeffrey's going to get on and see if there's any questions.
Oh. Yeah. Might need to light this guy up.
That one? What is that?
Rwanda amethyst. And here's a piece of Rwanda amethyst. Any luck, Jeff?
My computer's really slow. I can handle it from my phone.
So our chat moderator, I think his battery ran out or something. So
I'm back on the phone, so I can handle it.
So here's a piece of Rwanda amethyst. This is actually, there was two sources in Rwanda. This is the second source, which is very nice, but not as special as what the original source was. Doesn't have that strong dichroism. But this is a big, and it'll cut a great stone, but
You good, Jeffrey? Yeah. Got any questions for us? That's about it.
what else we had here?
All right.
Okay.
So,
No questions there, Jeff?
I was going to ask everybody if anybody had any questions. I did have a couple questions written down on my laptop, but of course it powered down on me. There was one back here. I believe he was asking about a certain stone. Let's see.
Technical difficulties.
James was asking, have you ever heard Haunin from Germany? Hunin? H-A-U-Y-N-E?
Huane?
Huang?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a beautiful color. If you know, big stone is a quarter carat, and very pricey. You know, a quarter carat could be thousands. Yeah, it's cobalt blue is the color, and I've got a friend that's in Bangkok that has very small stuff. You know, milli sizes. Things that are 10 points, 15 points, you know, and I'm thinking they're 1,500 a carat for that, even that size. So heard of it, seen it. Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary looking material, but expensive material. So,
Okay.
but the color is unlike any other gem for sure. Yeah, there are some spinels. Those cobalt spinels.
yeah.
You know, we looked at a cobalt spinel that was a carat and a half. It was 60,000 a carat. You know, I thought, yeah, if it's 1,500 a carat, maybe I'd be interested. But 60,000 a carat. You know, it was special, but you know, so was the price.
I don't think we showed any on the show tonight, but one gentleman was wanting to know if we had or are going to have any Molly garnet.
I've got a few pieces of rough. I gave my wife a yellow. I've got two pieces of rough that I'll have to cut. I've got one that I cut that's a big stone, but it's not very exciting. It's just cut kind of weird, but I do have a few more to cut that are green.
Who knows? Maybe he thinks that color's exciting.
Maybe. You know, and there's truth to that. You know, what I think's exciting is not always the same. I get things that I just go, oh, I don't like it, and people go, oh, I love that stone. So I shouldn't judge, but I'll try and get the one stone. It's just odd shape. They cut best as rounds and squares, and you know, are probably the better shapes for them. And this is kind of a long, elongated stone that just doesn't show the brilliance that Molly garnet typically do. So.
Yeah, so if you want to reach out to us, you can go on our site and hit the contact form and tell us what that you're interested in, and we can see when Steve does the cutting on the Molly garnet. So I think that's really it with the questions. I mean, I know a lot of people are still on here, so again, the coupon code is early. You can go to MoreGems.com. It's the URL, and there's some questions come in, but the URL is right on in the green bar there, and you can find the section at the top of MoreGems.com that has all the stones listed tonight. They're all 15% off, and the rare, the hidden gems, which are the 3 opals and the 1 Montana sapphire, are 25% off, and that coupon is rare 25. I know we're throwing a lot of coupon codes at you. Lastly, we brought it up a few times. If you like Tanzanite, we also do have a site called TanzaniteJewelryDesigns.com. And for everyone tonight, this is only going out to people that watched, you can use, again, the coupon code EARLY, and you get 15% off the entire site there. So that includes earrings, pendants, rings, gemstones, specimens, everything 15% off. And I think that lasts, a week?
Yep. Yeah,
that goes for a week. 17th. So you can go through there, put the coupon code in. You can pay us via credit card. You can use PayPal. We've got financing. And you can even call us if you want to do some kind of layaway program. So a lot of options available for you.
Okay. Anything else?
You said.
Oh,
one question. When you went to the Montana Sapphire mine, were you just going through buckets or mining? So just to explain that.
We did both.
Both.
Well, we got a mine run, which was run by Blaze Wharton at blazinggems.com. And he gave us a mine run, which he doesn't usually do, but we did some bartering, and he allowed us to do that, which they actually ran the material, separated it, and then we just did the sorting. And we also sieved material that came right from the virgin ground, because the mine run was old material that had already been run for gold by the miners way back when. And but they missed most of the sapphire because they weren't set up to separate out for sapphire. They got some of it, but they missed most of it. So that was what the mine run was. And the virgin material, we actually ran it, and both of them produced well for us. So it was really a good trip for us. And we spent a week up there in an RV and had a great time, and I think the mining is more than gonna pay for the trip, for all our expenses. So it was all in all really great trip. And again, we want to thank Blaze Wharton from Blazing Gems for having us there to his mine, and it just worked out real well for us.
We do have a video that we put out there. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
It's on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go back to the main channel, there is a whole video of our experience there.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, folks, remember, shop online at MoreGems.com, as well as subscribe to us at YouTube at MoreGems. That's going to do it for us today, and I want to thank you all for joining us. Sign up for alerts for when we go live, and also check out all our video links and info at the bottom of this stream. Until next time, I'm Steve Moriarty. Keep on gemmin'.
Oh, wrong buttons.
Yeah.
I don't have an exit yet.
Okay. Well, what should we talk about now?
I changed all the buttons around. All right, keep on jamming.